All right, Risk Profile and Tech Rodeo. We're here with Ben Berg, the founder of Berg Hospitality, which operates the B&B branded restaurants throughout the city. And we're here to see what he thinks about creating experiences for Houstonians and visitors in and throughout the city and what he's been working on. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Well, I am a huge fan of your tomahawk, and you can see that we've got a stack of them behind us here. And I can remember there have been multiple occasions where I feel particularly hungry. I have to take the whole thing down by myself, and I'm not alone in this restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of meat for one person.
It is maybe too much, but when it's that good, it's kind of hard to.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, what brought you to Houston 10 years ago? Like, what was attractive about the city?
I was living in New York at the time. I had 3 children, and I was really interested in starting my own business. And it's actually kind of my father who pushed me and said, New York is not the place to do it.
Yeah.
It's too expensive. Houston is this city that's, they're business friendly.
Yeah.
Plus my wife was from Mexico City. She knew Houston very well. My best friend had moved here for law, and I was like, all right, let's go to Houston. I mean, being in the hospitality business, I'd moved around the country quite a bit. Yeah. So moving wasn't a big deal. And, everyone had said Houston's the place to start a business.
Yeah. So as you're kind of thinking about that 10 years ago, you had a certain perception of what Houston was going to be like. What did you find that was most different? What did you latch onto as you were growing?
So I had no idea what Houston was. I mean, you hear Houston, you figure country music, cowboys, just vast, sprawl. But Houston is like the best kept secret.
Yeah.
I got in trouble before saying I didn't know they were actually the PR company for Houston sitting at a table in one of my restaurants. I was like, but Houston does a bad job of giving itself PR.
Yeah.
It does. Either it does that on purpose or people just don't know this city, I mean, the biggest surprise is all the neighborhoods, the different areas that nobody really tells you about.
Yeah.
The diversity of how you can live here, where you live. For me, the food scene is probably one of the most diverse in the country. And just, from nationalities and different cultures, everything. This city's pretty incredible what it offers. But you gotta seek it out on your own because nobody tells you. It took me like a year. I heard about this place called The Heights.
Yeah.
But nobody told me where it was, or now I'm opening 2 restaurants over there. So
it's kind of interesting because you're moving to a city you don't really understand. Houston has a lot of, I think another way of putting what you're saying is really it's underselling its
undersells itself.
So you're moving, how did you arrive at a location for your first restaurant? What was immediately kind of apparent to you?
Well, when I first got here, not knowing the city, I was nervous because I saw so many strip malls or whatever. Yeah. And as a New Yorker, in New York, you just have built-in character in places. And I was looking, became a little, frustrated that I couldn't find a building with character. Mm-hmm. And I met with another real estate guy, and he says, I think I found the building, but it's a fixer-upper. And he brings me over to where we're sitting right now, B&B. And I looked at it and I was in love with it right off the bat. Now, it had been forgotten by the city. There was no address. It had been vacant for 40 years. There was no plumbing, no electricity, trees growing through the walls. But I knew it was the spot. So that's how we got here.
I love that story. If you don't watch it in Houston, the trees will take over.
Oh, yeah.
They're aggressive here, and as you're growing a restaurant, you focus a lot on creating experiences. So, what does that mindset look like? Maybe 10 years ago. What does it look like now? How do you find the ability to kind of connect with the diners that come through?
Well, when I first got here and kind of understanding the dining scene, and this is 10 years ago, it's changed drastically. I thought Houston had great food, but not great restaurants. And the way I looked at a great restaurant, it's the total package. It's you got to care how your ceilings look. You got to care how the bathrooms look. There has to be, a feeling in the restaurant. It's not just good food or good service.
Yeah.
And I would say definitely in the past 6 years, the city has exploded with the total packages.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of competition out there. And in a city where, it's one of the most eating out cities in the United States, you have to create that extra thing, that experience, right? I mean, people have so much going on in their lives. We like to call it creating that one moment. I mean, people are on their phones. I wish they weren't on their phones all the time. Or they're taking a picture of a dish. But if I can create that one moment for you, because it's got to be so fast, that then I think I have you.
Yeah.
You're going to remember that. You know, and it's as easy as an Instagram photo that we plated such a beautiful looking dish that you took that photo, you loved your photo, you sent it out, you got a ton of likes, but now you have a really good feeling about being here. So, you know, people want to get out and enjoy something. And Houston really, you know, we're their night out.
Yeah.
You know, it's a driving city, right? So when I you know, I was working and somebody told me we ruined their evening. Yeah. And I said, and I'm from New York, right? Yeah. How'd I ruin your evening? Yeah. You know, like if I went out to eat in, you know, New York, you eat, you walk down the street, stop in a bar, there's a big evening. Yeah. But I figured out, you know, with the driving city and everything, that they're coming to us for their you know, pre-cocktail. Yeah. They're having their dinner. If it's a great night, they're going to stay at the bar at the end. Yeah. And we are their evening. Yeah. So then that's a huge responsibility. And once I realized that, it's like, wow, the total package really has to be there. And, you know, from a financial standpoint, I got you the whole night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to, you know, I want to definitely make sure I get all those sales.
Yeah, no, I certainly understand that. Now, so you mentioned you had an entrepreneurial father. You knew what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You know, when you moved from New York, aside from the, you know, kind of growing food scene here, what did you notice that really, you know, that you took from New York, or maybe that really kind of helped you from those lessons there?
I mean, I'd say, I think from New York that I took the most, I mean, kind of style and creating, you know, character to a place, you know. Also, I would say, you know, kind of the term a sense of place. You have to create that sense of place. So people, when they're here, you're different. You have a feeling that you're in something special. And you know, New York, it's built in. Here, you have to create it a little bit. Now, this building we're in, I mean, it's an old building. For here, it's, I won a Good Brick Award for, you know, repurposing an old building.
I think it's behind you, actually.
Yeah. 1920 in New York is not old. But here, it's
pretty old.
It's pretty old. So, but that's what I would say the most. Yeah. Oh.
And as you've gone from concept to concept, as you're kind of thinking about your own, you know, kind of goals in creating these experiences outside of just your first restaurant, what have you changed or adapted maybe because of Houston, or maybe as Houston's changed, it's forced you to kind of think about things differently?
Well, Houston is unbelievable. I mean, the first thing I noticed is Houston is unbelievably loyal. So, I mean, I've never seen anything like in New York. You not only, you know, can create loyalty as a guest, right? But they become your friends here. Houston wants you to succeed. Yeah. And when you succeed and then you give back, I mean, they're rooting for you. You know, I say New York is like a bucket of crabs. Yeah. Right? Once that crab tries to get to the top, everyone's pulling them down. Yeah. Here, they want to push you up. Huh. And that's really special here. And, you know, if you offer something new to the city, or you offer something for them, especially giving back to the community, is very important here. I think Houston's like one of the most charitable cities in the United States. Yeah. They really appreciate it. I mean, people say thank you here. Yeah. They don't say thank you in New York too often.
You know, it resonates so much with my experience as a founder here in Houston. You know, our customers were a huge part of our success, and they were actively not only rooting for us, but sharing.
They market for you.
They do the you know, word of mouth is how things are done here. How does that change the way that you interact with an individual person? Like, does that change your staffing? Do you on the training side, do you make sure that those things are covered? Like, how are you thinking about that business-wise?
I mean, we think about it. I would say we're definitely a front of house company. Yeah. From a service standpoint, you know, we want to hug you. We want to make you feel like you're coming into our home. And you know, I think it's a Southern thing, but it's definitely a Houston thing. I've been invited to so many guests' homes. Yeah. You know, maybe I've only met them a couple times, but you know, I give out my cell phone to everybody. Yeah. You know, say, please text me. I'll get you the reservation. Don't worry. You know, there's ulterior motive. If they go through open table, I got to pay some money. But no, but it's also the thing that day nobody asked me for a reservation. Yeah. It's going to be a really sad day. So I would never get too big for that. Yeah. And I think they appreciate it. I also think like the owner is important to be around. Yeah. I'm asking you to come in, spend 2-3 hours of your time with me. And it's usually the time that you're off, right?
Yeah.
You're not at work. I'm taking valuable time from you.
Yeah.
So it's really important that, we make you feel like you're in our home.
Yeah.
And we remember your name and we remember your kids and you build that relationship. That relationship can last 40 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to last 40 years in this business and beat you up, but
yeah,
I mean, that's what I like.
So when you're so, person focused, when you're really kind of watching and you're explicitly with people as they're going through celebrations and, hard times and struggles, does that, do you find both sides of that in people's lives? You only see the good parts. I mean,
they let us know when we miss it, when we screw up. But I think it's definitely true in the business, especially hospitality. Some of our best customers have come off of bad situations, but it's that reaching out. It's that, it's empathy, right?
Yeah.
It's listening to it. Sometimes I don't know what happened in the car ride over here. I don't know if they've been cut off 5 times and they just got a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
Right. But it's that ability to have empathy for the guest. And most of the time people just want to be listened to.
Yeah.
And we've really created some of our best customers off of shitty situations, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. What does giving back to the city of Houston look like outside of the charitable things? Are you involved in like a network of restaurants? Do you hang out socially with other chefs and other owners? Like what does that community look like?
I mean, I think us restaurateurs are more, we're worried about our own 4 walls.
Of course.
I mean, I'm a part of the Houston Restaurant Association and I enjoy going out, but I enjoy being in my restaurants. If you ask me, what's your favorite restaurant here? I said, well, I have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 10-year-old, wherever they eat, right? I'm eating chicken fingers and pizza most of the time. But it is fun to get out. I mean, I have a small group of restaurant friends and chef friends, but it's tough for us too, especially when you have a family and kids. When you're off, they sacrifice your time a lot in this business. So you owe it to them when you're off.
That makes total sense. I mean, I think that also, I'm sure you're tired of answering this question. COVID, what was that like? This time last year, what was it like keeping this ship together?
Was this May 4th right now?
Yeah.
It was terrible. But I think we were being told right around May 10th or something we could open up. What I would say about COVID obviously is the worst thing, and you're looking back, it's like, good damn, did this really have to happen? But from a company standpoint, we held on to the majority, like 62 managers throughout. Obviously, we had to lay off our hourly, but what I think, especially from a management standpoint and as a company, because we have people at different restaurants, they might not even know each other.
Yeah.
It really brought people closer together because, everyone was kind of in it together.
Yeah.
So from it may have been like the ultimate team building experience,
Sure.
kind of forced into it. Way more expensive than going to a retreat. But I would say that was really it. I mean, and it pushed you from a business standpoint. I mean, we have high-end restaurants. Delivery was never something we really even thought about. Who wants that $124 tomahawk delivered, right? You're supposed to come here and eat it.
Yeah.
So from a speed and efficiency, I mean, within 4 months, we're online. We can take online orders, delivery.
Yeah.
And my team just made it happen.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't, the worst part about it was we weren't in control of our own situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you just never knew what was going to happen next. So when we're like, okay, we got to get this done, I have a great team behind me. Yeah. And they just did it. And, probably would have taken a couple of years to get all the online ordering and websites and delivery and everything set up, right? We got it done in 3 to 4 months. I mean, it was incredible.
Wow, what a testament to the team that you've pulled together. Is a team and the ability to hire those people a key part of your Houston kind of experience? Do you think that's unique from a place like New York, or like how have you found that?
Well, I would say Houston. I mean, I'm lucky, right? So when we look at hiring, it's different from management to line level. If you care, we can we can teach you the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like hospitality service is the technical stuff. You put a fork on this side, you serve from here, right? This is your glass. Hospitality is that gray area. Hospitality is how do we make you feel? So it's not technical. And what I found is hiring people that care, they already have that hospitality part.
Yeah.
Right? We can teach you the service side.
Yeah.
We can teach you the different, from marketing. I mean, Emily, my PR and marketing has been with me since the beginning. I mean, she's hired people right out of college that don't have a PR, but they care.
Yeah.
So she can mold them.
Yeah.
But if you don't care in this business, it's too hard and you put yourself out too much.
Yeah.
That it just won't work out for you.
Yeah. You've mentioned the care theme as a part of several questions throughout. Is that like the secret sauce of B&B Butchers? Is that, and where did that come from as a philosophy?
Well, I think a lot of the people that I've hired from the beginning, I know they cared because they took a huge risk to come with me when I opened the first one. I mean, I asked a lot of people that I've been with to leave good paying long-term jobs to take a huge risk.
Yeah.
And go open up a steakhouse at the end of Washington Avenue, which was kind of considered like a no man's land.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And, 6 years later, we're still crushing it. And we have 6 other restaurants. And, but it's because they cared. And when you start with people that care, they want to surround themselves with other people that care. So that's how it rolls. So
kind of walk through the growing part. So you've got a restaurant, you got a concept. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get something like this off the ground. And I think as an entrepreneur, we always want to be hustling and charging and going for the next one. When was expanding the right choice for you, and how did that first kind of expansion go?
I mean, my first expansion was definitely not the right choice. I think I'd only been open 9 months, and I turned it down a couple times. Yeah, but it was this new center in Fort Worth. Yeah, I didn't know anything about Fort Worth, but they kept coming back to me, throwing money at me. I didn't really even know what TI was at that moment. But I liked the story. I liked the ownership. And I said, okay. And I go to some of my key guys who started with me and said, we're going to do this. What do you think? Can we do this? And they're like, well, it doesn't really matter what we think, Ben, because you're going to make it happen anyway. I see that in your eye. But lessons learned from that one. It's like, we can't go to another city. It's not even worth it unless we go opening up at least 3 restaurants, right? To create those efficiencies. And as it went on, you're right. When you're an entrepreneur, you're looking for that next deal. I mean, I love the concepts. We don't have, except for the 2 steakhouses, we keep on creating new concepts. Yeah. That's the fun part. It keeps it interesting. Yeah. And I think for the team too, it's when it's not repeating the same. Yeah. But that's what keeps me up at night thinking about this, or like, how can we get this deal? I want to be in this neighborhood, but we got to find the best place. Yeah. So once you get that taste of it, it doesn't go away. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you got to keep it a secret from your wife for a little bit. She's like, no more restaurants. And I'm like, but just this one just seemed to happen,
No, this is a baby. It's a small,
tiny little thing. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be easy. Yeah,
that's great. No, I think expansion is the paradox of entrepreneurship because it takes so much effort to grow. Like there is an element of growth that is almost required, right? Growth is the same thing as credibility in a lot of circles, a lot of circumstances. But so many firms, as they go through that expansion process, because it requires good people and training is difficult, and you can't be in more than one spot at a time. How have you addressed those scale issues? Did you pull people from the main restaurant to go start those other concepts, and how did that training and onboarding go?
Yeah, I mean, we have our core team, right? I mean, definitely in Fort Worth. We ask people to move for us. Yeah. Now, we figure out, okay, what's our training restaurant? Who are our trainers? We go from there. But, the growth part too is to want to grow, especially when you have good people. With just one restaurant, there's going to be a limit. Nobody can get beyond my general manager, right? I don't have anywhere for you to go. And as you're developing, you want to provide those opportunities. Yeah. So, I mean, the only way to provide those opportunities is keep opening. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's all training. But, at the same time, we want each restaurant and each manager and chef that are running the restaurant, we want that place to have its own identity.
Yeah.
And its own style.
Yeah.
I mean, it better be a style that makes money.
Yeah.
But that's what we want.
Yeah.
So it's, bringing the things we've learned, it's mostly like the support, the back of the house stuff. These are the nuts and bolts that have to happen to make you guys excel on the floor, because we don't make money in the office.
Yeah.
We make money on the floor.
Sure.
And then the growth too, I would say is probably a big thing some entrepreneurs deal with.
Yeah.
Is what the hell do I do after a while, right? You build a big team.
Yeah.
I look at, okay, I have to create the opportunities now. Right. I have to get the great deals so we can be successful and move forward. But I can't control everything anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was just one restaurant, I was there every day.
Yeah.
I had a say on everything. And it's learning to take a step back.
Yeah.
Trust your people.
Sure.
Because if I didn't do a good job hiring them, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then starting to learn your role.
Yeah.
As we expand, we have 2 restaurants under construction right now, 5 in the pipeline, and I can't do it all.
You've been hustling, man.
Yeah. So it's really learning, okay, what am I best suited for?
Yeah.
Let these guys excel at what they do.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Well, that's super cool to hear the way that you're thinking about that and breaking it apart.
But it's hard as hell to let go.
I can sympathize with that. Now, you've seen the city do growth and develop. You mentioned how the restaurants have really grown in capacity and really, delivering that experience
right.
and doing it in a world-class way. What else have you seen? I mean, you've got lots of different businesses coming in. I'm sure for a period of time you saw a lot of oil guys, and then for a period of time you saw no oil guys. Like what have you seen just demographically in Houston as it's been growing and changing?
Well, I mean, obviously, when I opened B&B, a year before oil was at like $114 a barrel, and I think when I opened it was at $50. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But Houston is so, I think I've heard, but it's from the 80s when it crashed, it's really diversified itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the greatest medical center in the world here. Yeah. Which is truly impressive. I mean, I take people and say, you got to see this thing, right?
Yeah.
But from legal to that, actually, Houston produces stuff. Coming from New York, there was no manufacturing. Like, New York City didn't make anything. All that left a long time ago. Here we make a lot of stuff. It's impressive. But you just have that, can-do, go-to attitude here. So it's amazing. You find out what people do.
Yeah.
Because in Houston, obviously it's friendly to companies.
Yeah.
So you find a lot of different stuff here.
Yeah. And as you kind of seen, things in the news where there are a lot of noise of, kind of people moving away from the coast and moving away from kind of the traditional centers, what do you think is it about Houston that makes it maybe a non-obvious choice from an outside, but really is crucial to, our future as a city?
Well, I think what makes Houston not the obvious, so you hear probably more about Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Now I have my opinions on Dallas, right? Like everybody probably from Houston does. And I know Dallas has opinions on us.
Yeah.
Houston doesn't have that glitz. It didn't have the TV show. Houston is just like, you put your head down and you work.
Yeah.
Probably all people thought was NASA.
Yeah.
Right. But, I think Houston thrives when people come here and want to be a part of it. They want to create, add to the city. And the city will give back to you.
Yeah. Well, I think that, is really well said. And I think pretty well summarized. Is there anything, kind of for the guests of Tech Rodeo in particular that, you'd like to, tell them about your restaurants and kind of what you're doing, just maybe the new concepts and what makes them different from the steakhouse that we're in right now?
Well, I mean, I have my steakhouse we're in right now, which I feel is, listen, we have the classic steakhouse items, but when I was here, it was all the big guys, right? It's all the chain ones. So we have a different vibe.
Yeah.
Right. A little younger, we made a big menu.
Yeah.
There's definitely something for everybody. We're centered on, I think I have over 23 cuts of meat.
Yeah.
We offer everything from the Kobe, but across the street, I have a great little New York style pub.
Yeah.
With great Wagyu burgers, but we try that Wagyu meat is coming from Marfa, Texas.
Yeah.
And then we have restaurateurs, which is a above and beyond experience. You know, very clubby, very high end. But I think I have don't quote me, a $38 meatloaf, right? But live music, it's just a special night out, a real experience place. And then I partnered with, the first James Beard Award-winning chef in Houston for a classic restaurant that's been around 41 years, and had the opportunity to make the partnership and kind of reinvent the place. And it's the Annie, which is a must stop when you come to Houston. I mean, Robert Del Grande is still in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that one is special to me because, meeting one of the like icons of food in Houston and him willing to partner with me to kind of reimagine the restaurant.
Yeah.
I think it's turned out great, and I'm really, really proud of that one. That's one I would definitely stop at.
Well, I haven't been there yet.
You got to go.
I haven't been there in years. So
well, wait till you see the new Annie.
I'll call you up for that reservation.
And Turner's is right below. Yeah.
So that sounds good. Well, I think there's a lot of really good, specific entrepreneurial kind of thoughts in your journey. Is there anything you would say to the entrepreneur that's maybe, no matter what industry they're in, that's thinking about making that leap, or maybe by circumstance or maybe by passion? Like what would you say to that person that's considering taking a leap in their own life?
Well, there's two things, right? I would say the most important is the numbers never lie. So don't disagree with your own numbers.
Yeah.
Now your gut is going to push you into it.
Yeah.
But sometimes people can talk themselves around the numbers.
Yeah.
And then once you have it, you have to go for it.
Yeah.
You have to, if it's in a restaurant, the day I signed that lease was an oh shit day.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in this now.
Yeah.
We have to go. And you just put your head down and do it. I mean, you don't have a choice too. Sometimes that's what you have to do. You got to put yourself in a position where you don't have that choice anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. I love that so much. All right, Tech Rodeo. We really appreciate time with Ben, and hope you go stop by one of his restaurants and go out there and be someone.